Normally, I start these videos with a spoiler block that lets you know, hey, go watch the last night's series before you come in and watch this. I wouldn't do that today, at least for the first series, for Flyquest versus CFO. Don't go watch it. Unless you want to be depressed with your life, don't do it. I think the top BLG series is worth watching, and if you enjoy European teams losing, fine, by all means, go watch the T1 series. But North America just became the first region to be knocked out of Worlds 2025. And yes, that includes South America and like the LTA as a whole. We are the first region gone from the tournament. A replication, unironically, of First Stand somehow. Yeah, that's where we are. So just before I was about to start recording this, and honestly, like lashing out on Flyquest, which is still coming, by the way, Basil notably was in my TikTok comments, replying to some people, or well, putting a message out there for everybody that I think is worth repeating and saying here. She said, "As disappointed as I am, it's sad to see how people are talking about the players. They are heartbroken and also questioning their own skills. So disgusting to see how quick the region turns on them. They're human too, and they know they failed. I legit watched them cry in front of my own eyes. I watched the light burn out from their eyes as Worlds was happening. They were losing confidence even before Worlds started." Okay. I 100% agree with Basil here, and I want to preface like this portion of the video, we'll talk about knockouts later, the draw and everything else, by just saying, if you are going at the players personally, I know Blippo is going to be like a controversial one because he personally offended a lot of people, so they feel entitled to personally get back at him, and I ain't going to stop you there on that one, to be completely honest. But when it comes to like saying individual players suck, they're fault, etc., like there's a line to balance here, because the reality is, even though these players are heartbroken right now, they are being tossed onto the front lines of war of the offseason, okay? On the timeline right now, I'm watching K-Corp fans by the thousands try to pick up Quid right now that he's a free agent. And if you think the same thing isn't going to happen with Inspired and Busio and the other players on this team, it is. So unfortunately, there's this dichotomy with Worlds where, like, yes, even though it just ended, we do have to be not only very critical of the team to assess what went wrong, to immediately try and figure out what the move should be for next year, but also figure out what the deal is with the players. So I say that to say we got to be as respectful as we can, but at the same time, not hold back and prevent ourselves from having conversations that need to be had right now. And my biggest takeaway, which I'm not sure if many will agree with me on this after the O2, is whatever happened to Masu's confidence was a tragedy. I mean, he was the biggest like night and day difference. Quad, I think, has been having a bad split all summer. Like, I think we've all seen that. We've seen Quig get the better of him. We've seen Loki get the better of him. It's unfortunate that the teams around Flyquest faltered and did not give Flyquest proper competition to, like, if they were crumbling, to force them to collapse a little bit earlier. But for Masu, there was just an entire lack of confidence that came through, like, leading up to Worlds and into Worlds. And the team was not drafting around him in any way, shape, or form. Like, when I saw Flyquest, what I imagine them winning through is you have Blippo and Busio being these amazing frontline and engagers, while you have Quad and Masu in the back just putting out damage while Inspired's playmaking somewhere throughout all of this. It felt like Masu in that equation, at least during Worlds, was just chucked to the wayside. It's like, give him Jin. Maybe give him Lucian Nami, but we're not going to respect the fact that Doggo can play Draven and counter this. Or we're going to give him Lucian, but make sure that it's with a mid lane Annie. So the entire thing's on his back, but like we're not going to put the tools around him to be able to like let him succeed. Like Lucian into the draft that he was playing into, like he's set up to fail from the jump. Now that's not saying that Masu's playing well either. Like obviously he did lose confidence. It's just like whatever happened internally at Flyquest over the last 2 months that crushed their confidence was very visible. And I guess this gets to the broader point of Flyquest and why I'm personally more pissed off than annoyed, which is Flyquest were the villains of this league. Whether Basil sees it that way, whether people within Flyquest or the individual players see it that way, you were the villains of this league. because Whippo and Inspired would run their mouths. Now, I get that's not Quad is quiet as hell. Masu ain't saying shit. And Busio's out here posting thirst traps. Like, good. You know what? Hey, do your thing. But you got to understand that this team, they are the villains. Your community perception matters because when you become the villains, the community is not going to support you when times get tough. Your job is to prove everybody wrong, to make it farther than everybody else saying, yeah, we are the villains and we did this. And that, like, if you're a good guy, you should be able to match us. And the thing is, like, everybody needs a villain. Like, you look at every major superhero movie. Like, look at the latest Superman movie. Superman does not look as good as he does without Lex Luthor being, like, one of the best villains we've seen in a DC movie, maybe ever. Like, at least the portrayal of it. Thanos, okay? The villain wins, okay? Similar to here for Flyquest when they're the community villains. It sounds weird to say, but there's, like, honor in being a dick and being a formidable foe. But when you're the villain and you just whimper out or you're not really a good one, at least in terms of public perception, how you handle it, how you orchestrate your narrative within the community, that's when it's like, what are we doing? We're talking like, I'm trying to think. Who was a bad one in recent years? I think Captain Marvel is actually a great example. I don't even remember the dude's name that was the villain of that one. He was just so forgettable in like the worst way possible. While FlyQuest this year, definitely not forgettable. They didn't do anything to help their narrative. Like, you look at the difference between them and 100 Thieves in this world. 100 Thieves stood no chance from the time we came in. Everybody was writing them off. It was like, okay, they're just here for a fun time. They embraced that. They embraced it fully, made content out of it, like became community heroes alongside of that, and were able to get a win. But for FlyQuest, it's like, I don't know what happened here. And they don't clue us into anything until these interviews. Like, that's my biggest problem with all this. And what I liked about Team Liquid whenever they would go internationally, we would get these coaching clips from time to time of, hey, you know, Spawn acknowledging that there was a problem. Like, you see the APA versus Yawn, like, you need to be more assertive during draft type shit. What have we seen from FlyQuest players other than these interviews that are like, well, we fucking suck as a team? You see, like, it gives the perception of, like, one player icing out another or, like, being pissed at each other. We lost faith. It's like, tell us more. Like, you got, like, be transparent and honest about all this. If you feel it crumbling, like, I get you want to bottle it up and bottle it in. But, like, if you want to prevent the community crash out from being this bad, you have to give the breadcrumbs leading up to that point to make sure that the community doesn't freak out. So they see what's happening beyond just what they see with their own eyes, like they see behind the scenes. And that will give you a little bit of human touch to this, which would allow some of the sting to drop from it. But if I'm assessing blame for FlyQuest right now, it's two-pronged, okay? First and foremost, I think all the individual players are very talented and great. I think this roster is not staying together at all. We all know that at this point. Anywhere that they all go, I'm sure they could be great, including Quad. Quad had a terrible summer, but maybe when he's back in like a more comfortable setting or a more comfortable team, maybe he starts popping off a little bit more. I don't quite know what factors were there on the team because, again, we don't see the inside to know like who was the problem that drove all this apart. But they're all individually talented, and I would expect them to succeed next year in various different teams in various different roles. Second is coaching. And coaching is two-pronged. One, being able to stop the avalanche of the mental decline that was this roster, but more importantly, drafting. Because the biggest difference between FlyQuest last year and FlyQuest this year is their drafting. Like, it's night and day. Just, I don't know what they were on. Like, it's amazing to think, like, Jensen went out of this roster playing a vegan Annie. And now Quad's probably going to go out doing the exact same thing. Masu, the champions that you built him up on all year, like the things that we know that he's good at, you don't even give him that. Like, I know Ash might not be popular, but holy shit, like, he's really good at it. Like, just give him that chance in this series. Like, Ash stands a better chance against fucking Draven than Lucian, especially when you leave it up. But I think that's on coaching. More than anything, like, coaching felt woefully underprepared for draft. Like, these are some of the most abominable or abominations of drafts that I've seen in a while. That's just like not playing to your own strengths and then giving your opponents theirs as well. Like that's the part that I don't get. Is like it felt like you were disrespectful towards the opponent. I don't know what their philosophy was. I don't know what their plan was, because once again, they don't tell us. We have no clue at all. So I'm just like, oh, dude, what are we doing here for coaching? And like that was my problem with Nuke Duck on 100 Thieves as well. That it felt like I don't think they stepped up to meet the moment. Like that's the perception from the outside in. I don't even know what number I'm on. I guess the final one that I would say is I do blame the region of North America a lot for Flyquest failures. Like, well, there's going to be a lot of people that blame this solely on Flyquest, but the reality is we as a region played less games than anybody else. We as a region had less competition to challenge Flyquest, more so than any other region. Like, at least G2 got pushed by MCOY at points. Like, who in summer pushed Flyquest? Nobody. So whenever they finally got to a real challenge, they got the hardest one of them all at Worlds and did crumble. I see the pathway there. Like, we have never had, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I don't think we've ever had a year where we've had a clear dominant team in the region that has then gone on to perform well at Worlds. I don't think we have. Every year that I can think of that we've had decent results at Worlds, it was competitive in summer. But the last few years, for whatever reason, like 2022 is another like good example of like, it feels like 2022, the 3 teams that we sent to Worlds, it was Cloud9 as like the last hope, because you had EG crumbling. Danny obviously stepped away. 100 Thieves were a shell of themselves by that point. Like every team crumbled and we were worse as a region for it. And I don't know what needs to happen next year. Because look, we had a lot of rosters this year that were the culmination or the end of 2 years of time, the 2-year projects that happened in League of Legends. And unfortunately, it seems like all that happened at one time. So next year, you assume it might not be a problem as you have fresh blood, fresh eyes all together. Like, hopefully this won't be an issue then versus now. But like, it is very apparent that everybody, all orgs in North America collapsed at the end of summer. Like, terribly collapsed. I don't know what to say or do about that. That, to me, screams like a problem that is caused by the league, by the teams around it, the general managers. Like, that is a collective issue that we all need to solve. And I want to have a conversation on that soon after, but I've already gone on for 14 minutes and I've not even talked about the knockout stage draw. So I think that's everything I got to say about Flyquest and just letting some shit out. Let's talk about Worlds itself beyond them. And let's go to this knockout draw, which for those of you that do not know, kicks off on Tuesday, because this week, all the players are going to Shanghai. I just realized the ticker at the bottom is a little bit messed up. That's my bad. All the players are going to Shanghai today, right now, because quarters and semis run back to back. It is Tuesday through Sunday, all series at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, midnight for those on the West Coast. And what we're going to get are some incredible quarterfinals matchups, which is a little bit worrying for semis. This feels more like a 2018 Worlds than anything else, or maybe even 2017 to a certain extent, because I'll get into that narrative here in a minute. But look at the tops. Like, you have AL, who I think, in my opinion, is like the best Asian or the best Chinese team at this tournament, going up against the Chinese killers. But T1 have not looked great this tournament. I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are like, oh, you know, for T1, they still always turn it on. I agree. And I think they got some nice warm-ups in these last 2 rounds to get them to the point where they should be fine in this tournament. I think they actually, like, the T1 that we will see in best of 5s is always different. And we saw Faker turning it on just a little bit towards the end of that Swiss stage. And if he turns it on fully in knockouts, like we're all expecting him to do, T1 is going to be a little bit of a different animal than what you're seeing right now. And all it takes is them just getting hot for 1 week to make it to finals. AL is coming off of almost 2 straight weeks of not, or a week and a half of not playing, which is going to be terrifying for them. Like, that's the best case scenario if you're T1. You come out, you're a little bit hot, you just played 3 days prior, you come in, you win that game 1, you prove a statement, that's going to be big. Like, I legitimately think, even though AL should be favored in this matchup, based on everything that we've seen at Worlds so far, now's when the narrative points start coming in for T1. And now's when you look at it and say, oh man, if T1 beats AL, it's going to be the final that we were all expecting. isn't it? Now, is there a chance that the team next to them or the team below them in the winner of G2 top could beat them? Sure. Honestly, this might be a controversial statement. If you are a T1 hater, you are hoping for G2 to beat top. Because if T1 beats anyone's legend, they're going to beat top as well, like without question. Your hope for beating T1 is to send the one team that has beat them in semifinals at Worlds before. And G2, this is the best possible matchup you can ask for. That bot lane is going to be interesting to watch. If Han Sama can neutralize Jackie Love, or at least be as effective as Jackie Love probably will be in this series, both either good or bad, this is a winnable series for G2. This is the best possible draw you could have gotten. You have the clearest path to a semifinal that you could ask for. You just got to execute. Both of those games are going to be Thursday and Friday. In terms of content output, I will have a Good Morning North America after the first two series. So probably Thursday morning, I'll talk about it a little bit, or Tuesday. It'll be at Wednesday morning that I'll talk about it. And then I'll have another one after quarterfinals are done, right before semifinals. But the two matchups that we will see prior to getting to that next video are going to be first, Hamwood Life versus Gen G at the bottom of the bracket. We have the LCK finals rematch in quarterfinals at Worlds. And Gen G, they might not have started off looking as hot. They have come around a lot. And this is a squad that I think should take this series pretty convincingly. We've seen Gen G get the better of Harmful Life pretty much every step of the way this year, with the exception of first stand. And maybe there's a narrative point to say, like, hey, Zeka will be on form. Zeus, I don't think, has looked like world champion Zeus so far in this tournament. But maybe he will step up in this best of 5 and be able to get it done. I'm not fully convinced, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think Gen G, at least in this stage, they've never faltered. Like, this is not the point where you worry about them yet. And the road for them this tournament feels just written in the stars at this point. Like, their matchup likely is going to be, after beating Homo Life, they beat KT, who should have, like, we were worried about KT coming into all this with multiple days rest, with the easiest schedule coming in, but they get the CFO match, which is more than doable. Like, I'm sorry, as long as you don't look terrible like Flyquest did, you should be able to beat CFO if you're KT. Like, they've looked strong enough. BDD is great. Like, this should be theirs to take, which sets up Gen G then in the semifinals, which, again, the semifinals matchups have the potential to just both be 3-0 stomps heading into finals. We set up two powerhouses, and it would be a great narrative leading into finals. But that's where I think we're headed. Like, even though I think KT's going to take care of CFO pretty handedly, I don't see a world where they contend with Gen G. Like, this entire bottom side of the bracket just looks so perfectly laid out for Gen G to finally make it back to finals. Now, will they be able to capitalize? That's always the question with Gen G. The biggest problem you always have is choking. And that's something that you can't factor in when trying to analyze this. Like, at what point does Gen G not become themselves? Do they get lost in the moment? Do they at all this time? We don't, like, it's entirely unpredictable. Like, if you're looking at this with a magnifying glass right now, there's few flaws with Gen G currently, especially when we get to a best of 5 fearless. Like, I don't see a world where they don't make it to finals. But every time we say that with them, it seems to happen. But either way, I'm not going to lie to you. From an entertainment value, this is the best quarterfinal draw that I think we've seen in a long time, because these matchups are just insane. Is it going to lead to a iffy semifinal? Potentially, yeah. But that's a problem for later in the week when we get to it. If you don't mind doing me a favor, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And Monday, I'm going to have a special video. I know everybody kind of misses Hotline League in these moments. I don't have the capacity to do a live call-in show at all. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put out a tweet on Twitter tomorrow saying, hey, send me your Worlds 2025 Swiss stage and quarterfinals preview hot takes. Video form. You have 1 minute in length to get your take out there, and I'll react to it and give my commentary and thoughts on it. But I need to make sure it's like 1 minute so I can try and get like a few of them in and give you a 2-minute response alongside that. So if you want to get involved with the community conversation and have your point put out there, I'm not going to be able to put them all, but you need to have a video out there, whether that includes your face or not, or if it's just black and you talking, doesn't matter. Just get your video out there and I'll try to have it in the video. That's coming on Monday. It's a series called I Don't Want to Overreact, but, and you get to be the ones overreacting. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.